Stop whatever you're doing, because a mysterious number might be trying to reach you. Sound strange? Maybe even impossible. But what if I told you that certain numbers can predict the very turning points of your life before they even happen? Take the story of a woman in India. After 3 years trapped in failure, grief, and unseen barriers, one number kept appearing in her life: 29. She ignored it at first. Just a coincidence, right? Until everything changed. Her path reversed. Her energy shifted. And her life began to rise in ways she never expected. In this video, you're going to uncover the 6 most powerful numbers of 2025 revealed through a mind-bending fusion of ancient Buddhist wisdom, Old World astrology, sacred numerology, and hidden prophecies from figures like Nostradamus and Baba Vanga. But a word of caution: these numbers only unlock their meaning if you stay to the very end, because there's a 7th secret number, one that may link directly to your energy right now, in this moment. If you felt like the universe is trying to tell you something, this video is your sign. But first, type in the comments, "I accept my transformation," and hit like to ignite the frequency of change within you. Now, take a deep breath, because the first number could alter your reality. But before we reveal it, pause for just a moment. You might be wondering, is any of this even real? Or maybe you believe numbers are just numbers, random, meaningless. Let's look at the facts. In 1999, researchers at Princeton University launched an experiment that shook the scientific world. They built devices called REGs, random event generators, designed to produce unpredictable patterns. But then, something strange happened. During moments of intense global emotion tragedies, mass celebrations, the patterns stopped being random, as if human consciousness was reaching into the code, shifting the math itself. This phenomenon, now known as the Global Consciousness Project, still runs today, and it supports what mystics and ancient cultures have always said. The mind doesn't just observe reality, it interacts with it, even with numbers. So if you're skeptical, that's okay. But remember, science is still catching up to what the ancients knew. Numbers aren't just quantities. They are living symbols, vibrations of meaning. And when you learn how to read them, you can begin to reshape your world from the inside out. Now, we're ready to reveal the first number. A number that carries the energy of structure, resilience, and rebirth: 29. This isn't just a number, it's an archetype. In ancient systems, 29 is known as the master builder, the one who turns invisible ideas into physical form. In numerology, it represents a unique union, the sensitivity and intuition of 2, joined with the power and completion of 9. Together, they create a force of conscious creation where vision meets reality. Those who resonate with 29 often start their journey with setbacks. But those trials? They're not obstacles, they're preparation. Because 29 doesn't come to those who want to escape. It comes to those who are meant to build something strong, lasting, and meaningful. Spiritually, it's the number of those who bridge the material and the mystical, who can bring the unseen into structure, form, and truth. Astrology adds even more weight. The number 29 often appears during Saturn returns, times of intense growth, responsibility, and life-changing decisions. Many influential leaders, artists, and spiritual guides had 29 show up at crucial turning points. Why? Because this number demands action grounded in clarity. Imagine a woman who lost everything in a painful divorce. She turned to numerology out of desperation. Soon, the number 29 began surfacing everywhere, on her new address, in key documents, even at the exact time she met a mentor who helped her rebuild her business. Today, she uses 29 like a compass. She says, "It reminds me daily that I'm not broken. I'm rebuilding." That's the energy of 29. It doesn't ask you to fantasize. It asks you to take the blueprint in your mind and start laying the foundation. So, pause for a moment. What do you want to build this month? A physical project? A new habit? A deeper bond with someone close? Comment below and name that vision. Because naming is the first step in bringing anything into existence. Remember, 29 doesn't build impulsively. It builds with purpose, and what begins with clarity tends to last. Few numbers carry an energy as quiet, steady, and unshakable as 7. It marks the crossroads, that delicate moment when pain hasn't quite faded, but hope is starting to rise. In numerology, 17 reduces to 8, the number of karmic balance, of reaping what was once sown. But 17 brings something unique. It represents the strength born from adversity, the quiet courage to stand again after being broken. This is the number of those who refuse to be defined by their setback. And it's not by chance that 17 appears during key life cycles ruled by Saturn, the planet of structure, limits, and life lessons. In astrology, Saturn is known as the strict teacher. It doesn't hand out illusions, it teaches through time, effort, and reality. But when Saturn finally rewards you, the reward is real. So pause. Ask yourself, what challenge are you in the middle of right now? A loss? A transition? A chapter that refuses to close? Think about it. And if you feel called to share in the comments, do it not to expose yourself, but to begin healing what's hidden. There was a man named Luis. For years, he tried to keep his family's small business alive, though it barely stayed afloat. When it failed, he went silent, spent months in limbo. Then, one afternoon, he stumbled on an old numerology book in a used bookstore. Out of curiosity, he calculated his name's number. It was 17. That same week, he wrote down everything he wished to rebuild. Not just money, but self-respect. Within months, he launched a modest service, built with care and heart. It flourished. He later said, "Number 17 taught me that there's no true success without inner reconstruction." This is the archetype of the silent warrior, not the one who fights loudly, but the one who waits, who endures, and who turns pain into wisdom, and wisdom into purpose. If 29 builds, 17 gives it resilient form. It's the steel within the architecture. And this month, that energy is more active than ever. So close your eyes for a moment, if you can. Picture a soft light in the center of your chest. It's not coming from outside. It's yours. It's always been there. Now ask yourself, how many times have you felt something coming before it ever arrived? The number 11 is often called the spiritual master. In numerology, it acts as a portal, a gateway between what's seen and unseen, between logic and instinct, between mind and soul. Those attuned to the frequency of 11 often see beyond the surface. They tend to be more intuitive, more emotionally aware, and deeply connected to something greater than themselves. But that heightened sensitivity, it's a double-edged sword. It can bring clarity or confusion, vision or illusion. That's why 11 asks for discernment and a steady practice of returning inward. Astrologically, 11 aligns with Uranus, the planet of sudden insights, hidden truths, and radical awakenings. And this month, that energy is strong. It's a cosmic nudge to trust what you feel, even when the outside world offers no proof. Ask yourself, have you ever made a decision that seemed irrational at the time, but your gut said yes, and later it turned out to be exactly right? If so, share it in the comments. When we speak these moments out loud, We help others hear their own inner voice. Take Teresa, for example. She kept waking up at exactly 3:11 a.m., night after night. Drained and puzzled, she started researching the meaning of that number. What she found led her down a new path. She learned that 11 wasn't just a number, it was a spiritual signal. Not long after, she left a job that had been draining her and enrolled in a course on natural healing. Looking back, she says, "It was the first time I chose to follow my soul, not my fear." That's what 11 teaches. It doesn't shout, it whispers. And only when we grow quiet inside can we actually hear it. Right now, this energy is more active than usual, thanks to alignments with Uranus and Neptune. It's a powerful time to slow down, turn inward, and reconnect with your own truth. If you've been second-guessing yourself, this may be the moment to start listening again, because the guidance you're searching for, it's not out there, it's already inside you. Some life chapters end softly, like a quiet fade. Others crash like storms. But either way, what breaks always makes room for something new, even when we can't see it just yet. The number 30 speaks directly to the energy of rebirth. In numerology, it marks the graceful closing of cycles wrapped in insight and emotional maturity. The 3 brings expression, creativity, and a reconnection with joy. The 0 amplifies and spiritualizes this process. Together, they form a symbolic code for release and renewal, a cycle ending not in sorrow, but in light. This month, the vibration of 30 is intensified by one of the year's most powerful lunar eclipses. And here's the truth about eclipses. They don't ask, they reveal. They force to the surface what's ready to leave, even if part of us is still holding on. Take Claudia, for example. Years ago, during a similar eclipse, she felt an overwhelming need to clean not just her home, but her life. She donated clothes, burned old letters, and cut ties with toxic connections. 3 days later, she got an unexpected phone call, a job offer in a new city. She took it. Later, she said, "It was like the universe had been waiting for me to let go, so it could finally give." That is the essence of 30. It doesn't destroy, it makes space. Rebirth isn't forced, it's allowed. It begins when we surrender. So pause for a moment. What are you ready to release? A belief? A fear? A version of yourself that no longer fits? Write it in the comments, because naming what we release is the first step to actually letting go. The number 30 teaches us this: to live is to move through cycles, and every ending, no matter how final it feels, carries the seed of a new beginning. And now, from release, we move to stability. Few numbers hold the kind of quiet power that 8 does. It's symmetrical, balanced, and infinite. No matter which way you turn it, it stands strong. That's its greatest strength, equilibrium. In numerology, 8 is the number of karmas, prosperity, and spiritual responsibility over material energy. It teaches that the outer world is a mirror. What we manifest starts inside, and what we receive often returns from something we've already given, knowingly or not. Even this year, 2025 holds the energy of a closing arc. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 equals 9. The number of finalities, transformation, and endings. But this month in particular, a rare alignment of planetary forces activates the archetype of 8A, unique moment where intention and action can truly fall into step. Astrology confirms it, with Jupiter expansion and Saturn structure dancing in alignment. The stage is set. In simpler terms, now is the moment to align your purpose with your practice, your vision with your execution. Ask yourself honestly, Do your current goals reflect what you truly came here to do? Or have you been chasing achievements that no longer speak to your soul? The number 8 doesn't sustain illusions. It deals in harvest, and harvest only comes where something real has been planted. That's why, right now, you're invited to name 3 seeds you want to plant this month. It could be self-confidence, financial clarity, or peace with your body. Whatever you choose, make it honest because the universe responds to clarity, not performance. Take Ernesto's story. For years, he sought success everywhere, but within stacking up titles, debts, and emotional fatigue. Then, he came across the meaning of the number 8. That's when he realized the imbalance wasn't outside, it was within. So he slowed down, set boundaries, and began meditating before every major decision. The result? He didn't become rich overnight. He became aligned. And from that alignment came everything he had once chased. This is what 8 teaches. Act with awareness. It doesn't reward speed, it rewards coherence. Now, before we reveal the final number, something important must be said. You might not have noticed it yet, but if a specific number keeps appearing in your dreams, it's not random. To Tibetan monks, dreams aren't just stray images, they are portals. When the ego sleeps, the deeper self speaks using symbols. And when numbers show up again and again in that space, they aren't accidents, they are messages, encoded and waiting to be unlocked. Science is just beginning to catch up. Modern dream research shows that when the subconscious is trying to resolve a conflict, symbols repeat, and numbers are among the strongest forms it uses. Take Marion, a holistic therapist. She dreamed of the number 41 for 12 nights straight. Different dreams, same number. When she finally looked into it, she learned 41 was the age her father passed. And it also appeared in a date tied to a new career path. She hadn't yet chosen. Coincidence or a deeper calling? So if you've been seeing numbers in your sleep, or waking at the exact same time, night after night, pay attention. Write it down. Look into it. Ask yourself, what part of me is trying to speak through this sign? Because sometimes the soul speaks clearest when we're not awake to argue with it. Now, then, are you ready? Let's talk about the final number, one that weaves together material stability, decisive action, and spiritual strength. 41. This number holds a rare energy. It fuses the structure of 4 discipline, foundation, effort, with the drive of 1 leadership, courage, initiative. The result? An archetype of quiet power, the kind that endures and thrives, even in uncertain times. In numerology, 41 represents action with divine purpose. It belongs to those who plant seeds with their feet grounded, but their gaze lifted towards something higher. People who understand that spirituality isn't separate from daily life, it's present in the way we make choices, care for others, and move forward even when fear lingers. Historically, the number 41 has appeared in moments of recovery and rebirth times when the world seemed to fall apart, and something stronger began to rise from the rubble. Here's a simple but powerful example. During one of Argentina's worst economic crises, a 61-year-old woman named Sylvia began embroidering just to survive. She didn't have a plan, just the need to get by. On her first product tag, she printed the sum of 2 dates that mattered to her. 2 years later, that modest beginning had grown into a small business, supporting 11 women in her community. In a local interview, she said, "It was like that number reminded me that God builds too, but with our hands." That is the essence of 41. It doesn't wait for the perfect moment. It asks, what foundation can you strengthen right now? Is it your health, your faith, your finances, your family? Whatever it is, 41 invites you to begin with intention, with steadiness, with presence. So write in the comments, "My foundation is," and finish the sentence with what you choose to build from today forward. Because this isn't just about numbers, it's about identity. And 41 closes this cycle with your feet on the ground and your spirit connected to the sky. Throughout life, most people search for signs, an obvious answer, a voice from out there. But the greatest teachers, both spiritual and philosophical, have always pointed somewhere else. Invisible alignment. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't crave attention. It moves silently. You'll know it's there when you begin to see the patterns. A number that keeps showing up. A thought that won't leave you alone. A situation that repeats again and again until you finally see what needs to change. It's when you look back and understand why something had to fall apart. It's when you look inward and quietly realize, I'm not who I used to be. And that is a good thing. Awakening doesn't always come with a loud crash. It usually begins with something small. But conscious, like choosing to watch this video until the end, like writing down a number that stirred something in you, like commenting, even if you're not sure why. These small actions, they're seeds. And wherever there are seeds, transformation is already preparing to grow. A 58-year-old woman named Aeneas once shared in a spiritual group that after years of living on autopilot, she began jotting down numbers that kept appearing in her daily life. She didn't know numerology, she simply followed a feeling. Later, as she explored their meanings, she saw the path they outlined. 29, the call to rebuild. 17, the strength to rise from past wounds. 11, the return of inner guidance. 30, the release of a life that no longer fit. 8, the harmony between spiritual depth and daily responsibility. And finally, 41, the point of alignment where it all began to make sense. She said, "For the first time, I felt like life was speaking to me, and the craziest part is it always had been." Maybe you're standing at that very edge right now, that quiet, powerful threshold where the pieces begin to click, not because of magic, but because you're more awake, more present, and more willing to see clearly. If this spoke to something in you, write in the comments, "I recognize the sign," and share the number that moved you the most. Because this isn't the end, it's the beginning of a new chapter 1 with more awareness, more intention, and more meaning. You made it here. That's not just a stat or a scroll depth. It's a signal, a quiet confirmation that some part of you is ready. Ready to break free from routine. Ready to make deeper connections with your own story. Ready to stop calling it coincidence and start calling it communication. Think about it. Why did these numbers resonate with you? Why did the stories of seemingly ordinary people spark a pause in you, a moment of reflection? Maybe the answer isn't loud. Maybe it's this because a part of you already knew that numbers hold more than math. They hold messages hidden deep within the subconscious, waiting quietly for the right moment to be heard. Now you've heard them. 29, the beginning with structure and strength. 17, the transformation of pain into power. 11, the return to your inner knowing. 30, the letting go and emotional rebirth. 8, the balance between your inner world and what you build outside. 41, the anchor of purpose and aligned action. Maybe something inside you has shifted, even if you can't quite name what it is yet. That's exactly what happens when you enter a state of symbolic alignment. Your mind begins to connect the dots. Your emotional field starts syncing with choices you didn't even realize you were ready to make. And your conscious awareness, perhaps for the first time in a long time, finally becomes quiet enough to listen. This is where archetypes become powerful, not because they're magical, but because they reactivate something inside you. They awaken parts of the mind that have been resting, parts that want to grow, to rise, to build, to change, to evolve. And this isn't just spirituality, it's also neuroscience applied to human behavior. Studies show that symbols, especially numbers with meaning, form emotional anchors in the brain. They operate as shortcuts for meaning. When you connect them to stories, emotions, and real choices, your brain starts treating those experiences as real as if they've already begun. And now, here's the subtle secret. Everything you felt throughout this video, you can recreate in your actual life. These numbers can become more than insight. They can become mental anchors, symbolic reminders that you are always shaping your life and that nothing is out of reach when you move with intention and awareness. So, right now, you're invited to take this further. Don't just watch, participate. Root this experience in your reality. In the comments, write manifesto, Mored, or share the number that stirred something in your soul, your memory, or your intuition. Because here's the truth. When you write it, something shifts. Writing is a declaration, and declaration is always the first step toward manifestation. And remember, you are not alone in this. Thousands of people around the world are feeling this same energy quietly but powerfully. They're waking up, realigning, reclaiming their direction, and you are a part of that movement, whether you realize it or not. If this message resonated with you, subscribe not just to catch the next video, but to keep this space of expansion open inside you. Every time you return, you're not just learning something new, you're remembering something ancient, something essential, something that has always been yours. And lastly, share this video with someone you care about. No need to explain, just send it. Because sometimes, a quiet nudge is all it takes to spark a new chapter in someone's life. You didn't make it here by accident. You're here because, deep down, you're ready. Now that you've heard all this, what will you do?